Hey everyone, Petra here from Petra Fisher Movement. I'm here today to talk about spinal curvature, specifically something called hyperkyphosis. So hyperkyphosis is a term that refers to the curve of the upper back, which is called a kyphotic curve because of its direction. Hyperkyphosis means too much kyphosis. Every time you got too much of something, that's not awesome, and it's the same with hyperkyphosis. Hyperkyphosis is directly related with vertebral fractures, with neck pain, also with issues breathing because you don't tend to have enough mobility for your ribs to move. A lot of pressure in the core, so not great for core muscle function, also for pelvic floor and diastasis recti. So you want to think about sort of having a mobile, supple spine in order for all of the functions that happen within your torso to function correctly. The problem with hyperkyphosis, another problem with hyperkyphosis, is that it's actually hard to detect in your own body. It's hard to measure, it's hard to see. We're good at hiding it. So I'm going to show you how to find it in yourself today. Why do we have hyperkyphosis? Mostly because of how we walk. So because we wear shoes with heels, because we're not good walkers, we walk by lifting up one leg, throwing ourselves forward into gravity, and then catching ourselves. And that constant throwing creates a lot of forward curving loads to our upper back. So you have to learn how to walk right and work on your spinal mobility to work on your hyperkyphosis. But before you even get to that, you should know what your spinal curves actually look like. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Just a quick trigger warning, it can be really not awesome to feel and see your own hyperkyphosis the first time. So be gentle with yourself, be very kind to yourself. You might be surprised by this. If you are, take it as a sign that now you have a great starting point to work from and to take care of your spine. So try not to be upset about it. Try to take it as a sign that you've got a great path forward because now you know that some spinal mobility work and some walking work is going to be helpful for you. I've, by the way, changed mine from being a 7-finger gap of hyperkyphosis to a 2-finger gap over the last few years. So I'm going to show you exactly what that means. So to measure your hyperkyphosis, you're going to have to line yourself up against a wall. And you need to start by creating a zero position. Your zero will be your heel bones underneath your hip joints vertically. So you can't be leaning forward, you can't be leaning back. You need that to be vertical because that's the zero and you need to measure from zero always. That'll be, for most people, a question of putting your heels about 2 or 3 inches away from the wall, about butt distance. And you can just rest your butt on the wall. Then you can rest your shoulder blades on the wall. Feel your low ribs here, and you might be able to feel an edge in your low ribs when you're here. That is what we call a rib thrust or a rib lift. That is your rib cage rotating up, and that's actually how we hide our hyperkyphosis. In fact, you can see my head's on the wall here. It looks like I've got great posture, but the part that's not working well here in my body is actually this part now. I'm severely extending through my mid-back, which is super not great in the long term for your spine. So to start changing that, what you're going to try doing is just curling forward like you're doing the world's most gentle baby sit-up. And as you curl forward, keep your back on the wall, but you'll notice how the wall kind of slides down towards your feet. So slide that all the way down. Now lift your ribs up again. Feel how the wall slides up towards your shoulder blades. Slide down. Feel that changing position of the wall on your spine. And really what you're doing is you're rotating your rib cage back and up, and then down and forward. Bottom of it comes up and forward. Top of it comes forward and down. So it's almost like you're rotating, well, you are rotating your rib cage here. So once you've got a good sense of that wall moving against your ribs, I'm going to get you to curl down until your low ribs here at the front are in about the same position as your pelvis. That's the point where, if you put your hands on the hips to yell at somebody, that's the front of your pelvis, your ASIS. Low ribs in line with your ASIS. Keep your low ribs there. It'll feel like it's your sort of bra strap at the back. And then slide your head and neck back and up as high as you can without being crazily forceful. This is the position where you can now measure your hyperkyphosis. And you can take your hand behind your head and see how many fingers you've got going there. So I've got this kind of 2.5-finger gap. I can get that much fingers behind my head here. And so that is my hyperkyphosis today. When I first started, I would come here and I would be 7 full fingers and a thumb. That was my hyperkyphosis. So a lot more back then. Let me show you from the side. Standing side to the wall, butt distance away, my hips are vertically over my heels, and I can start with my shoulder blades on the wall. Then I curl forward until my low ribs are vertically aligned over my ASISs, my bra strap area is on the wall. Now I'm going to slide my head and neck back and up towards the wall. And from this area, I'm going to measure the gap behind the back of my head. And here again, I'm at this kind of 3.5 finger spot. So a little bit more than I want to have still, but it's come a long way from being this 7 or 8 finger spot. So that's a hyperkyphosis measurement that you can do anywhere, anytime. You just have to make sure to stack everything up to your low ribs before you slide your head and neck back. So the key here is not letting your low ribs lift as you measure with your head and neck. That's the trick. Okay, so if you just discovered you have more hyperkyphosis than you wish you had, it's not an easy realization for lots of us, but the good news is there's a ton you can do. There's a ton you can do to work on your walking. There's a ton you can do to work on your spinal mobility, and when you put it all together, it will start to normalize your spinal curves. So there's a ton of resources that I share about it. I'm about to teach an upper body class that'll be a lot about spinal curvature. I'll put the details below in the YouTube link. My Take 10 program is probably the best place to go. It's closed right now, but you can put your name on the wait list, and there you're going to work on walking, you're going to work on spinal mobility, and you're going to work on really deeply understanding how to get all the curves of your body in their best possible relationship with one another. So those are your best options for working on hyperkyphosis, but I also, as a third option in my Joints for Life course, have a whole spinal mobility section. So I really do have a lot of resources for this one. All right, so hopefully that was a helpful measurement for you. Feel free to put what you think in the comments or tell me how many fingers your gap was, and happy measuring, okay? Take care.